So with that being said, the minutes of the previous meeting were posted. Are there any corrections or additions? Hearing none, I'd like to motion to accept as printed.
Slide.
Motion to accept.
You have a second?
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded on the question.
Who seconded that?
Nicholas.
Nicholas.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, Denise, I'll go a little slower here. Okay, all in favor signify by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Christie, it's your turn, superintendent's report.
Actually, I'd like to make a motion if we can, please. Because of the severity of the issue about the election, I'd like to make a motion that we simply table the rest of the reports and we move directly to the election.
Did you have a second on that?
Second. Jack.
Okay. Motion made and seconded. Any questions? All in favor signify by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll go into the elections. Now, we do have, well, we're gonna take these as individually, but as a group, the chairman, the vice chairman, and the sergeant at arms. We've got one person for each of these. So far recommended for chairman is Jack Piccolo. Recommended for vice chairman is Nicholas Berry. And recommended for the sergeant at arms, we have Amanda Couch and Tom Milnick. So we'll start at the top here. Are there any other nominations for chairman or president? I'm sorry. Are there any other nominations for president? Are there any other nominations for president? Hearing none, nominations will be closed, and I will entertain a motion to elect Jack Piccolo as the president for the new 2-year term.
So made, Williams.
Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Second.
Nicholas.
Okay. All in favor signify by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Jack, you've been elected. Okay, for vice chairman, we have Nicholas Berry. Are there any other nominations for vice chairman? Are there any other nominations for vice chairman? Are there any other nominations for vice chairman? Hearing none, I'd like to entertain a motion that we close the nominations and elect Nicholas Berry as the new vice president. You have a motion on that?
Motion to close.
Close. And elect?
Second.
And elect
Okay. My
Nicholas.
motion's made and seconded to close the nominations. and
Who
elect.
seconded?
Cook.
Thank you.
Okay, all in favor signify by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Nicholas, you've been elected.
Thank
you. Now, this one's gonna take a little longer. We have 2 people for sergeant at arms, Amanda Cook and Tom Milnick. Are there any other nominations for sergeant at arms? Are there any other nominations for sergeant at arms? Are there any other nominations for sergeant at arms? Hearing none, we will go into a vote. Now, we can't have a secret ballot because everybody is scattered here. So when the secretary takes the roll call again, we will make sure we get everybody listed here so they get an opportunity to vote. I will vote as chairman in the event of a tie. So Denise, please start with Jack Piccolo and then take roll call on the vote.
All right. First, the nomination in alphabetical order. The first nomination for Sergeant of Arms is Amanda Koch. Piccolo, how do you vote?
Well,
Yes.
you gotta put the 2 together because you got 2 candidates. They have to vote for one or the other.
Yeah.
I'm
Okay.
okay. What order you do it in.
Well, it'll be faster that way. Okay. All right. Piccolo,
Amanda.
Bear with me, guys. That's me, Denise, Amanda, or Coke, I should say.
Okay.
Bear with me. I'm trying to hit both at the same time. So, Tom Milnick.
Tom Milnick.
All right. And Jim Singler, he's absent.
He's absent.
Amanda Koch.
For myself, Amanda.
Okay. And bear with me. Nicholas Berry.
Amanda.
And Wayne Horn.
Okay, we got Janet.
No, we've got more votes. We also have to take the vote of other people present. So Lisa McClassen.
Yep.
So,
Ms. McClassen, you are muted, so let me run through it quickly. We are voting for the position of Sergeant at Arms.
stop. So this is Lisa's first meeting and Steve,
Oh,
they haven't been
Yeah,
voted.
I
Okay.
don't know either of these people are, yeah, sorry.
so who else do we have that's eligible to vote? That
Then
Yeah.
vote present.
Janet Blue?
Yeah.
Okay, Janet.
Amanda.
And Mr. Chairman, do we have anyone else present that is eligible to vote?
Not at this time that I'm aware of. So with that, it looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 1. Amanda will be elected the Sergeant at Arms. To make it official, I entertain a motion that we close everything and we elect Amanda as the Sergeant at Arms. Do we have such a motion?
Motion.
Motion to close.
Do we have a second?
I'll second, I guess.
Seconded, okay, Tom. Motion made and seconded to close the nominations. All and vote for Amanda for Sergeant at Arms. All in favor signify by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Now the next one, since we're on the new bylaws, we need a chairman for a 4-year term, a 3-year term, and a 2-year term. There are no nominations, so if anybody would like to nominate or nominate themselves, we have a 4-year, a 3-year, and a 2-year chairmanship available.
I'd like to nominate Tom Milnick for the 4-year position.
Okay,
Do you accept?
What are the duties? I know what a general chairman is, but
It's not a chairman position. It is a voting member on the executive board.
okay, sure.
all right. Do we have any nominations for a 3-year term? Anybody interested in the 3-year term? Janet or Steve or somebody?
I'll nominate
I'm
Steve.
interested. I just don't know what it, if I didn't know if I could nominate myself because I'm such a newcomer. But I'm happy to be nominated.
Okay, and who is that speaking? Is that you, Janet?
Yes, it is, ma'am.
All right.
Okay.
So Janet Blue is nominated for the 3-year.
Okay, and do we have anybody nominated for the 2-year? Steve?
If I can, I will.
I'll nominate Steve for the 2.
Okay, so we have a nomination for 4-year term, Tom Milnick, a 3-year term, Janet Blue, and a 2-year term, Steve
Beneke.
Bennigan.
Beneke.
Okay, are there any other nominations?
Can
Are
I
there any-
nominate Lisa for the 1-year term? I think I was elected one of my first meetings.
No, the new bylaws are 4-year, 3-year, and 2-year.
Oh, there is no 1 year? Okay.
No, it's 4-year, 3-year, and 2-year.
That was for you,
That's-
Lisa. I'm sorry.
That's all right, thanks. I'll
Okay.
find some way to keep busy.
Oh, yeah, you can still attend we'll get you involved with, an organization, then you can represent that organization, like the American Legion or the VFW or somebody. I can
Okay,
get together with you on that and we can take care of that. That's not a problem.
okay.
So, are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, I would like to entertain a motion that we elect these 3 members for their positions. Do we have a motion on that?
Motion, Nicholas.
Do we have a second?
Second, Jack.
Okay, all in favor signify by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, congratulations, everybody. You're in your position. Christie, I think we've elected everybody. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now we'll get a motion to go back to the regular order of business. Do we have such a motion?
I think Denise's motion tabled it to next month.
Yeah.
Yes,
We can go
All
back.
right.
yes.
We'll
But I'm
table
also, that was only for the treasure, the normal reports, but we do need to do the bylaw review. I did not table that.
Okay. All right. Anybody got anything you want to bring up on the bylaws?
Yeah, I've been reading this, I don't know how many times I'm going over here. There's still a lot of stuff on there I don't come out clear or been changed. I don't know, like it's listed that our meetings are on the second Tuesday of every month. Do we change that now to Thursdays at 7?
Oh, let me find my
I'm
copy.
up sort of confused too on meetings. So we have 4 quarterly meetings.
Right. Christie, you want to guide us through that since you're the one that presented the bylaws in the first place?
So what, I have them printed out in front of me. I'm looking at them. I don't remember seeing where it says the second Tuesday specifically. I thought it said once a month.
It's in second Tuesday in meetings, right, in section 1. Once every quarter, second Tuesday. Thought last time we talked something about changing it to Thursdays at 7, but
Yeah, that's what I thought we had done.
so it should be changed in there then. And our quarterly
Oh,
meeting,
yeah, it says, section 1, the regular meeting shall be held on the second Thursday once a quarter, and meetings typically fall in the month of February, March, July, September, and November.
it says Thursday?
Yes.
Okay,
Some-
mine's Tuesday.
Article 11, meetings, section 1.
Yeah, but mine says 2. I must have an old copy then, because mine's Tuesday.
Oh,
I thought we had changed it.
yeah.
Maybe I just didn't print the new one then.
Yeah, Christie, is Thursdays correct?
Yeah, it might make sense to have it say once a month. You know, there's a lawyer that's on the phone right now who writes policies and stuff.
That's what we need.
Yeah, I might be guilty of that. Yeah, we should probably, I'd propose that we go through the bylaws and just make sure that those things where we've tied ourselves down to things like it has to be Thursday or it has to be a specific day, or other things in the bylaws that talk about when something has to happen or how something has to happen. If it's just administrative and it's something to keep people aware and helpful, maybe we put those to the side and explain it in a separate document and keep the bylaws for those things that are critically important that happen on a specific time or date or timeline. So, maybe we could just take a few of us and look through the bylaws and make sure that we're not tying everybody to something that isn't always convenient. Because what if it falls on a holiday or something like that, some of those movable holidays?
Yeah, I gotta admit, I didn't get that involved and all the correction and everything, I'm behind here now. I'm going by a old copy probably. I know
Yeah.
stuff has changed, but it's just, I'm
But you
kind of
could
myself,
certainly-
basically, but
Yeah, you could certainly add some caveats in there that say, except where it falls on a holiday, or except where, 3 members determine that it's more appropriate on another day, if you still want to have it locked down. So that doesn't just go by the wayside, but yeah, I think we can.
So-
get that.
And then on that, then the quarterlies are February, May, July, and September. Supposedly.
Well, I think I was talking to Ken Buck in Grundy County about this, and he adjusted his annual meeting, because I can't remember when we had ours. I want to say it was in October or something.
October,
Ours is
so
November.
Yeah, they adjusted theirs to reflect the annual meeting and nominations of the posts. Because let's just say Vic is the delegate for the VFW, nominated by the VFW, and then we elect him to be on the board or whatever as the VFW delegate in November, and then in the next 3 months, Vic and his VFW have a huge falling out, and he's no longer at that post, so therefore he's no longer the delegate for said post. So what Buck said to do was to adjust our annual meeting date to reflect that of the post's nomination schedule.
Do we know what the post nomination schedule is?
I think
What?
the VFW would be like, theirs is in May, so we would do June.
There you go.
yeah, and then the Legion basically has their elections in June.
Okay, so then maybe they do it different down in Grundy.
So then what if we
We
did
could
it,
do
our
July.
annual meeting in July?
Right,
That would accommodate both or all.
for August.
But the problem with July or August, you're running into vacation time and you might miss some key people.
What were our quarterly meetings? What's the one over the summer?
The commission, it's just the full commission meeting is the quarterly.
So we could do this at any of our meetings, it doesn't matter.
So we could also just do it, since our quarterly meeting happens in September, why don't we have the September meeting, both the quarterly and the annual? Because now it's at the most a couple of months lag time from the posts delegations.
I do think that, I agree with that. And I do think that we should have our elections for our e-board should happen on like a full commission meeting, just in case there's somebody that wants to be elected and maybe doesn't understand the process. And so that way we're being the most transparent possible.
Well, to have the new year start in November, you pretty much have to elect the officers in October. So September, you could do nominations and have the election in October. So on November 1st, the new officers are ready to go.
How does the current schedule align with your budget requirements as well? I'm sure there are certain things that have to be filed or signed, and on a certain time, you don't want to have to be transitioning from one commander or one person to the next while you're also trying to get anything signed or anything. Are there any end of year reports or anything like that that would conflict with this?
Our budget goes from November 1 through October 31. The budget has to be submitted by May 15th or something. Is that right?
Okay.
Does that sound right?
All right.
Committee meeting is,
All right.
it's in May. And
So
then,
you just wouldn't want to install a new command or a new person, responsible for something a month prior to that report being done, because then they weren't really responsible for any of it and their names on it. So that was the only concern I had.
All right, well, I think that's, and it's a really great point, and I think that is taken into consideration, because even though the budget doesn't take effect until November, it's handled in May, so
Okay,
that's,
right.
that works.
So you want to have to line those up, yeah.
All right, so I'll make the motion that we adjust the bylaws to enumerate specifically our quarterly full commission meetings are January, April, so January, April, or whatever, What's the 4 months? Guys, I got no brain here. My
Right now
point
we
being,
have-
Amanda, you're just laughing, but you're not talking, you're not helping there, girl. Come on, give me a bone.
Well, we would do 1, 4, 8, I guess. I don't know. How do we do it
Well,
now?
no. Yeah,
Well,
so,
my bylaws have it February, May, July, and September.
Right.
okay, that sounds
Okay.
great. So, and our September meeting is also our annual meeting. That's what I was trying to get
All
to.
right, all right, section 2 says special meeting will commence every other year in October
For
to
election.
elect
We really
executive
don't want
board
to hear
member.
from the kiddies. Come on. We don't need to hear from kiddies.
Right, but the election itself is separate. So we're just talking about the regularly scheduled annual meetings or,
Annual
meeting-
meetings, okay.
So we'll have the 4 meetings a year, and the September meeting, the September full commission meeting is also our annual meeting. And that is,
Come on.
I'd recommend that we update the bylaws to say as such.
Yeah.
In
Right
continuing
now,
year.
section 6 says November is the annual meeting.
Oh,
in
good
my
God.
bylaws.
I give up.
That's why I said I just try start to read these things and I get more confused the more I'm going along here.
Well, then why don't we just make September the meeting?
So we gotta make some adjustments on them meeting dates.
How about if we appoint a couple, 2, 3 people to work on this and under Jack's leadership, bring it up at our next meeting?
Yeah, because I mean, my bylaws, like I say, if some are corrected, I'm getting out of there, September is the open nominations, October is the election, November assumed duties.
Yeah, that's how we basically had it set up.
Yeah,
That
we're
is
changing
correct.
stuff now, so. I just like to know, I mean, I'm going back years back, all we did was every other month. 1 month was the commission and next was executive. I don't know what we had before, but we're going to 4 quarterly now. And then the executive board, I guess those can take place. We don't have any set dates for those. Just when something comes up.
That's, the executive board is the monthly meeting, as I understand it. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And that's how this conversation started. Is that monthly meeting going to be happening on Tuesdays? Or is that going to continue? That's the monthly meeting that we've been doing in the afternoons. I don't have a copy of the bylaws in front of me, so I can't read off of it. And it doesn't really seem to matter if I do or not, since there's multiple copies out there or multiple versions.
So the
So,
reason we went from afternoons to evening was we had trouble getting a quorum in the afternoon, and we found the evening worked better. That's how we went from 1 o'clock in the afternoon till 7 o'clock at night.
Right. Originally, we were in the afternoon. We flipped to that because it was like always light out and stuff.
Yep.
But now that we're Zooming, we can do it whenever. And maybe it's easier for people to Zoom at night.
Sure.
It's
How
up to
come we
us,
have different versions
the
of the
board is to
bylaws?
get some days and months, and that's it. It's our decision.
The time.
Why is it that we're all looking at different versions of the bylaws? I'm looking
They're
at
not.
the-
Jack's version is correct. The version of the bylaws that everybody got, the email I sent you, that is the past version of the bylaws.
So I should forward it on your emails.
Yeah,
Okay.
you guys all have the right ones.
We have the correct ones?
Yes.
I have lost my patience with you. The fight will go.
So we did quarterly meetings, and out of the quarterly meetings were set up because the full commission wasn't coming and we were missing a quorum. So this is why I put on the agenda the bylaw review. So if you go back to Denise's roll call document, or I guess it's the agenda, I gotta go back, I have multiple screens. Everybody that was excused, they have not been showing up for quite some time, and there's no way to get rotation of new people in if we keep giving people excuses for not coming. So when we switched to the quarterly meetings, we also made a standing in an executive committee, which was not part of the executive board, because we weren't getting the people that list that Denise is going off of by our old bylaws is our executive board. And they
Also,
full commission. So then we did monthly meetings for the executive committee to work through all of this stuff. And then COVID-19 hit and nobody was working through. It just sucks. So per the new bylaws, everybody that was not elected is going to come off of that agenda sheet. So everybody that's pretty much on these screens right now, you guys are expected to be at the monthly meeting. You guys are the new quorum.
Yeah.
And then
also with the way it words that the past chairman, instead of being part of the commission, are eligible to participate but not vote. So you won't call any of them a roll call, so it doesn't matter.
there'll be guests, and I would
Right.
look for the past chairmans to still participate, because historical knowledge obviously goes a long way. I'm talking to you, Wayne Horn.
And you would still be
And Vic
counted.
too. Now Vic is past chairman too, but like, we know how they operated previously and why they're no longer operating that way, or why the changes were made, because I literally cannot keep this all in my head.
You want me to?
Yeah, I just don't want to have to do it by myself.
Yeah, I don't know. We got an executive board, we got an executive committee.
So these bylaws do not have an executive committee,
Right, it's now executive board.
right?
And in this new ones, the secretary doesn't get a vote either.
Right.
It's appointed. It's not an elected position anymore. And the treasurer is gone.
Yeah.
Correct.
The treasurer, the treasurer title stayed in under the old bylaws, but the treasurer role, like we haven't had a bank account
Right.
board to take care of since 2016, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
Downtown yet, yeah.
Yeah.
We gave up. Okay, so then, but basically now we're setting 4 quarterly meetings and a September meeting, 5. And are we meeting the executive board monthly or when needed?
I think
No. Why does the dates, the months of the meeting, the scheduling of the meeting have to be in the bylaws in the first place?
the
If I'm
schedule,
not mistaken,
go ahead.
isn't there there's one meeting per year that is required according under the law? But functionally, the Will County VAC has things going on and does need to have quarterly, minimum quarterly, an annual meeting for the VAC for Will County, because of the volume and all of the various things that this VAC does. It can't operate on an annual meeting.
But you
So
do
it does
not
need
have
to be
to
quarterly.
specifically name the months that you're going to have your quarterly meeting.
I think that there is something about the Open Meetings Act that makes it safer for us to have the quarterly meetings named. I don't believe that if we choose to do a monthly working board, or however you want to term it, that does not need to be named in the bylaws. It's something that can be done as a standing motion, that we will have a monthly meeting at a specific date and time, so that the board does have some ability to go through and assist what the VAC is doing on a more frequent, regular basis, more hands-on basis.
I was going to ask, do we have to publish our meetings?
They have to post.
Yeah, so
So if that's the case, then we need to have our schedule, whether it's quarterly or monthly. You can always cancel them, right? But this way we know that they're posted the 48 hours in advance. And like, because we fall under Will County in our weird way, let's just do what the county does, right? And they publish those meetings every year. and say what they're going to be for the following calendar year. So since we're getting our new folks in November, it's perfect timing because they reorg the county in December, every other December, same thing. So we figure out when all those committees are going to be, and then we publish that year report. And if you have to cancel it, you cancel it. But otherwise, at least it's already
But
ready.
that doesn't answer the question that I have. Why do you have to put that in the bylaws?
You don't have to put them in the bylaws. You don't have to put specific dates in the bylaws, but whatever is in the bylaws is to hold the board accountable. So
Yes.
if we just say quarterly without giving directions on how we're numbering those quarters, just like what Lisa was saying, like, well, what does this fall under over here? And what is this over here? So if we're going to do quarterly based off of county budget fiscal year, that quarter is different than calendar year.
Then follow the counties. Why can't we do that?
Because now we're running into the issue of when are the delegates being elected from the posts, which is what Christy had initially said. And I don't know if the counties, Amanda, what is the county's quarterly schedule?
Well, when we put, are you talking about the budget itself?
No,
Meetings?
meetings.
Well, we don't really have quarterly meetings. We have meetings every month.
Right.
For everything.
Committees.
But there's nothing in the county that does quarterly meetings.
No.
No.
Okay, so then our quarterly meetings really do need to be lined up with two facets. One is the annual meeting has to be in that full commission county meeting or full commission meeting schedule on the quarter. And that needs to be soon after all of the delegates from the posts are nominated or, elected.
We could do
Which
it.
I'm sorry, Victor. I was just reading the Illinois statute, and that call for nominations to the different posts happens in January.
We put it out to them. They
Right.
don't give it to us until.
Right, until later. So you would want to, again, align your first meeting of the calendar year to relate to when you're getting those nominations in from the different posts and organizations.
That would, in theory, be February, right?
That
Which
would,
was
in
our
theory-
first quarterly
Yes.
one that we had.
Well, it
So
would
we're-
depend on how much time you gave them to respond and submit a name. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Vic. Sorry.
Would you want nominations in January and an election in October?
Probably not.
Yeah.
That's why I brought it up. It looked like maybe it was a date that conflicts with some other things for us.
If we went quarterly, February, May, August, and November, that would meet everything. November could be the meeting. And then like it says in the bylaws, just have a special election. Special meeting will commence every other year in October to elect the board. So every other October, have a special meeting of everybody. Keep your normal quarterly reports February, May, August, and November. That makes sense, seem to work?
So the goal, if you do your nominations, everybody just got home from basketball, so I'm moving. If you do the nominations in January to follow the post-guided state statute, you could then do, when the posts put their slate out there, we can have them put on their slate VAC delegate, VAC alternate. By the time we're giving them an option to do VAC delegate or VAC alternate, they're already 3/4 of the way through their first year holding office.
Well, VFW has the elections in May and the region has it in June.
Well, then I don't think they're following the state statute.
No. They're not under the state, they're chartered as their own.
No, they're under a state statute for military camps and posts.
Well, they've been doing it wrong for 102 years.
Or they've just been doing their own thing. There's a difference.
Yeah.
And it also, I'm reading further in the law, it says that they get 60 days to respond from January 1. So that gives you to the March 1st before you would get the names.
In March 1st, you'd have a meeting.
And I'm presuming our county has more than 5 post camps, units, chapters, ships, or detachments. So I'm presuming that we have these additional requirements as well, because there are so many organizations within the county because of the size of the county that we have here.
There are many organizations, but you only get participation from about 5 or 6.
Okay.
Which
A lot
brings,
of dual membership.
which is also an issue. So with this new board, we need to either open our doors beyond auxiliary to include, because if you look at the state statute for the Military and Veterans Assistance Act, it says military camp, posts, units, chapters are legally identified organizations. It does not define what legally identified is. So legally identified can be any nonprofit, because they're legally identified. Bless you. Any other 501c19s that have a veterans group, like a Knights of Columbus or an Elks Club, or any of those things too.
What's this?
So,
I mean, you'd have Caroline, Grand Haven, any of them,
Good to see you again, Brina.
Lockport here, Laga Vista got a veterans club, all of them should be eligible.
yep.
It was
So
necessary.
it goes beyond our traditional way of VAC thinking that it has to be, you know, an American Legion, VFW, DAV, or AMVETS.
Um,
It's right, good to see you.
Yeah, we
Maybe
have
we
to
could,
expand somewhere.
maybe we could get a letter properly written and find out all the organizations' names, addresses, and send them a letter acknowledging that, hey, that we do have this commission, and as the group they are entitled to participate. Because most of them probably don't even know that.
Right.
Right. Still his brother.
But that's dog. Sorry, my dog. But I like this. This is the type of stuff that we on the phone, the board specifically, because this is your baby. Us, me, Elisa, Jen, Val on mute.
Now she's nasty.
We just work there. So Kendall County Veterans Assistance Commission is on the brink of closing down because they're losing posts left and right. There's 3 standing
I'm
posts.
sorry. So somebody's got a TV on in the background and it's really, really causing interference.
I got mute.
Yeah, we got to start getting the board involved and not trying to get the VAC doing all our recruiting or work. I mean, it's up to us to get the VFW, the Legion, and different things interested or trying to get somebody at least to attend the meeting once in a while. 'Cause, I mean, we have terrible, terrible participation from, I'm just saying the VFWs. We're lucky if we get 1 or 2 that ever come.
Yeah.
through. Most of them are Legion.
There aren't, unfortunately, there aren't even that many Legion different ones involved.
No, it's a major problem. I mean, they're all dying. And
But we don't
need
have
more.
to put this in our bylaws, right? I'm wondering if this could be like a project that we come up with all the different organizations. You know, some of them I'm not really sure about, you know, DAR, stuff like that. But we
Yeah,
could
we have
really
to contact-
widen that and see if we can get more people, but it doesn't have to be in our bylaws. It's already in the state statute, so it's redundant.
Exactly.
And the state statute can, am I off mute now? Okay. The state statute can certainly be updated as well as we see things as someone just said, you know, they're dying off. I think it may be a product of the organizations that they are of veterans from prior conflicts. We have new young veterans. I see Nick on the phone. Looks like maybe he's not from World War II, but you know, maybe he was in a little bit later. But there are a lot of veterans out there, and the veterans associations don't always welcome those of us who, through no fault of our own, there was no war when I was in. You know, it was the Cold War. There wasn't a conflict. But I'm a veteran, and a lot of folks my age that served at the same time are out there struggling with things, and they're falling through these cracks. Is there a way that we change the statute, even if we need to, find a backer and do that? to help us figure out how do we reach the other folks, the folks that aren't part of an American Legion or a VFW or some of those other organizations that are out there.
Well, at Barn Post 13, our commander is a Iraq War veteran. You know, we
Yeah.
do have,
Yeah.
you know, we do have those people.
Right.
So Christy, from what you were saying and from this wider reading, and Amanda mentioned the DAR. So what about Military Mama Network and the Blue Star Moms and the Gold Star Moms? Now, these are organizations that are pretty active.
Yep.
And the statute does specifically say that the commission is for to assist families of deceased veterans and families of veterans with assistance. So if we're not reaching them through the groups that we have, again, we can alter the language. You know, it's rewritten by somebody.
That probably makes more sense.
Well, this is an expansion from the way that we've been thinking and operating for quite a while without rewriting yet, which is great. And I think it's a really great place to start.
You know, again, I just left Virginia and the Pentagon. You know, if anybody says they need anything, there's 12 people around within arm's reach to do that and to get them connected. Well, what I see this group hopefully as being is that connection, is helping folks find the people that need help and helping the organizations that can provide that assistance to them. Because I think that's probably what the folks that wrote the legislation were looking for, was to get a group together that would kind of help bridge all of those other little islands and get everybody to come together. And it does mention families, it mentions veterans, it mentions, you know, the deceased veterans and everyone. So maybe we have an opportunity to kind of expand the role.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's going to be our job as the veterans organization to find the veterans, to bring to the VAC to help them.
Look around you.
That's true, Jack, but then how are we going to accomplish that? What resources do we have to recruit? That becomes the issue. I mean, we don't do anything to that smacks of that at all. Yeah, and all organizations are suffering from participation. It's not just veterans organizations.
No, definitely, yes.
And
But again, that's one of the reasons we got to go to other organizations that are not veteran service organizations. All the other ones that seem to be doing everything right now. Every food drive, every handout, and everything is different groups all over doing stuff that are not VFWs and American Legions.
well,
Majority of them.
you know, some of it, and I'm not trying to throw cold water on it, but you know, 50% of all veterans are over 65. You're not looking at a group that's going to actively get out and run around the track. It's just not what happens.
Well, we'll have to drag them around.
But there's a lot of young folks out there that have served as well. We've got 1.2 million in uniform now, or whatever the daily number is, and there are folks getting out every day, and they're facing the situation that we're all facing right now with unemployment and all those other things. And I think you're right. The number of places that are handing out foods and handing out things, if we're not working together through like a commission like we have here, then everybody's hitting a little spot, but the greatest need isn't identified, and you're only getting one little corner instead of trying to get the entire county.
We have younger vets out there if we can get,
Yeah.
I mean, Lewis University, Joliet
Right.
Junior College,
Sure,
all the schools have veterans groups.
sure.
Even Veterans of America, we got to get with them.
So we've got to think like them a little bit too.
Well, that's hard when
Yeah, that's hard.
I'm
It's hard.
trying because I am one of them.
Yeah,
You know, this
I was
is
gonna say,
my
Amanda,
thought.
you don't look like World War II either, Amanda. I don't know.
So here's my thought with this is we have a really cool opportunity here where we're probably going to be meeting on the computer for at least 6 months, probably more. It's a lot easier to draw somebody in to be online because they don't have to leave their house. And since it's an easier lift, maybe we can all make some type of plan where each person reaches out to, you know, groups that they already have some organic connection with and try to convince them to appear. And then we need to provide a more dynamic and exciting and welcoming meeting space to have everybody come visit.
Right.
Most.
Right.
Guaranteed.
Twofold.
Is this possible doing all that on a Zoom meeting?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm
Absolutely.
bad enough to get it on a computer, never had a computer. I'm before calculators, so.
Absolutely. So I would gladly make the commitment to reach back to both Blue Star Moms and to Military Mama Network. Christy, you could too, but I mean, I can reach into both of them because there's active people around, and they would not be willing to give up an evening to come into an office for a meeting. They simply can't because they're all younger. They're generally the families of the veterans, and they're already doing these things. So what I think that, you know, following on Amanda, it's not just the active and dynamic or welcoming meeting, it's the dynamics of what it is that they do, how we can assist them in doing the things that they're doing, and what they can bring to the table to welcome, you know, for all of us.
You know, I think, you know, I think we're getting into something here, but the reality too is the hard part about, you know, most of my generation of veterans, you know, is for many of us who got out of the service, we're still actively enrolled full-time in education, or full-time employed and full-time education, and at the beginning stages of, you know, starting our families. And so, you know, it's a lot to juggle. And as one who is full-time in education, full-time employed, and getting married next year, you know, a lot of the times we you know, we want to be more of a part of these things, but at the same time we do say, you know, okay, I've got to draw the line somewhere, you know, and at some point, you know, things like this unfortunately seem like just one more thing to do. I think that with us having moved to these Zoom sessions because of COVID, I think we can kind of market the Zoom style meetings that we're doing to more of the younger generation to make it easier so that these younger veterans don't have to leave their families to go into Joliet to have a meeting. You know, I think that can be, you know, a marketable thing, but I do think there would be something to showing an invested interest in helping those veterans accomplish the 1,000,001 things that we all feel like we're trying to accomplish.
If I could interrupt, I think we're dancing around the whole subject. We're not looking to get people to a meeting here. We're looking to get veterans help. That takes resources that we don't have available at this time. I mean, that you're talking about being out in the community, telling people what we do, so that we can bring those individuals in for the access benefits, needs, whatever it is that they have. To do that, we have to have resources. Now, Amanda, straight up, I know county has no dough for that. So how do we accomplish that?
Hold on. Oh, hold on. We have an announcement.
We have somebody. Yes, I know.
Oh, no. Hold on.
As a matter of fact, my usually very stingy Republican colleagues on the county board seemed interested today in trying to give more money to the VAC. And as there's an appetite for it from the CARES Act committee, is there a way to make this a CARES Act committee thing where we are trying to help people in the community. I was asked specifically today, what else do veterans need? Do they need food? Do we have a special food bank? What else are we doing for housing? What were some of those other questions, Christy? And I was like, okay, yeah.
Well, it wasn't the song they were singing 30 years ago, but yeah,
No.
that's good.
No, I sent, so I think, what did they say? They've only given out so far, Amanda, like 23 million, is that correct?
Yeah, we're having a hard time finding somewhere to put all this money.
Well, I mean, the VAC, I don't know that we have the expertise in this group that we're out here at the moment, but that's, it's gonna take some money because you're gonna have to hit media, you're gonna have to hit, I mean, it seems to me the VAC itself, an idea I thought of, we should be having a podcast every month or so, where we're out there in the public sphere that people can access us anytime they want to.
So we did do video podcasts in the beginning of COVID. And we got a lot of new clients then. We did do tons of community outreach prior to COVID, and we did all of that without a budget because we didn't have a budget to do outreach or advertising or pay for ads on the radio. We didn't have anything for that. And with the county now saying that, hey, we want to make sure that all the veterans in the community are getting their needs fulfilled, and pretty much said, tell us what you want, tell us what you need, tell us how we can help, tell us how to spend this, $90 million that we have left over. And probably tell us before next Thursday at their next ad hoc CARES meeting. So we can ask for housing, we can ask for a building, we can ask for we already are getting a gym with gym equipment and fully stocked, and the building beautifully designed, and we got a new van, and that was pre-COVID. That had nothing. I mean, we can think big, or you can, Val and I spoke after the CARES meeting today, and she was like, well, alrighty then, let's do what her mind is going a million miles a minute. And that's what we hired Val for. It's like, what community needs are we not able to provide, that we find ourselves dependent on other people and on their timeline to do, where we don't have to be. And we're really rocking our shelter thing right now that we started with 165. We're at a 50% housing rate right now. We've had 8 come in and 4 are housed, and the other 4 are going to be housed by next week. And then hope we won't be empty, but and that's without HUD dollars, and that's without, federal outside looking to other nonprofits in the community to get these people housed. We're doing that through our resources and our community connections with landlords and all of that stuff. So, I mean, I think we can do it.
That's what I'm talking about, though, is getting other people to do the recruiting work for us, and that's what I'm talking about when you do resources. That spreads the word. Jack's idea about recruiting the colleges. I mean, they've already got the group. They don't know where to go all the time.
I think if we're intentional with our asks of who we want to invite here first, and just like Denise's suggestion of Military Mama Network, yes. As soon as I found, reread and read again and dissected the Military and Veterans Assistance Act, Steve came in and brought some Uber gift cards, and I said, hey, Steve, what are you doing on Thursdays? What'd you want to? Lisa came into the office because she was bored, looking to get her U214 stamped, and I said, hey, what are you doing? I mean, that's how I met Amanda that way. I met Nicholas that way, wherever he went. That's how we hired Jen. She literally walked into,
Well, there you have it.
Right. But I'm just saying there's between the office staff, we know the organizations that we call on that do things for veterans that maybe haven't up until today been able to participate. And now they can. JJC and Lewis, or JJC will be hard because they have a high turnover rate. Every 2 years is what it's supposed to be. Lewis wouldn't be that difficult, but they're only there for 4 years. But still, within those 4 years, USF would be another one. We have a USF intern right now. you know?
Say something really quick. This also comes back to, I have worked with veterans as well that are members of our local posts, and they were surprised to find out that we existed, and they didn't find out about us from their local post. So it also starts with the post advertising as well.
I think what we need to do is, instead of trying to bring people to us because we are mediocre successful at that, I think that we need to start going to people. So if we know that a certain organization that we have an interest in partnering with in some way, we should go send one person to that meeting because it's on Zoom and it's a lot easier. And then talk to them about what the VAC does. And then maybe we can start getting one of their people to come to ours, right? And start kind of creating that bigger group. But there has to be some advantage to the fact that we're all on the computer and it's super easy to hop from meeting to meeting. I'm pretty sure last time we had a VAC meeting, I was on like 3 meetings at once. It's fine.
And Amanda, I hear you and I agree with it completely, that I think, and that's the reason I said that I would, you know, if each of us can identify, we each know different organizations.
I wholeheartedly agree. I think that we start to create a bigger list, and then, you know, we put Denise next to Gold Star Moms. You know, that's who you're talking to and trying to find, you know, your successor here in this organization. The DAR had me talk to them like last year or 2 years ago for Veterans Day. I'm about to show back up and be like, hey, you know, anybody that we've ever talked to at any point, can we get an invite to one of their meetings and find out what their schedule is and start pushing gently.
And Amanda, I think money talks, and you were talking about earlier, they have funds someplace. If we become the commission that knows how to write the grant or how to write the request to the state or county or whoever has the purse strings, then we're a resource. And those organizations find out about us from other organizations, and they come to us because we can do something for them. If the American Legion's doing fine on its own, what does it need us for? And why does it need to show up? But if we can help them get more money, get more members, whatever it is that they're looking to maximize, then we're the commodity. And we need to kind of make the commission a commodity. We've got to make the commission something people want. And what can we do for you? Aside from the what can we do for the vets, the only way we can do for the vets is if we're helping those other organizations that are out there with the direct contributions.
When I think about asking for CARES money, one of the things that I think about us asking for is a lot of advertising dollars, like an unbelievable amount of advertising dollars.
Absolutely.
The amount of people that I talk to who should have been receiving benefits for 50 years and have not is phenomenal. And then people will go in and they're like, holy shit, I've been, you know, getting robbed for 50 years. And I'm like, well, yeah, no, you know, but they didn't know about it. And whatever channels we're using now to communicate with people, it's just not as effective as maybe it could be. And I think that we can really justify it because it's helping people to get federal money, which is no harm, no foul to us and the county during this hard time. And then the net is that we're bringing in money every month to the county, you know, to revitalize our economy. So I don't know, Christy, you're the master of writing up stuff like that.
Well, it seems like we need to identify some organizations or groups like the universities. Well, put me in front of, I'll talk to them. I mean, I'll go to their meeting. We can, whether it's on Zoom, I might even venture and put my picture up there. It's got to be proactive. I mean, you're right, Christy, man. It's got to be proactive on our part. I mean, but I don't know where you want me to go.
Yeah, Wayne, on that, before COVID, like Lewis College would invite you to their luncheon anytime to talk to the students. Junior college would do the same thing. Come on, have lunch, go to a meeting, you talk to them. They're always looking for somebody to find out what's going on around. I mean, it was possible before.
I'm sure they are, but I'm not looking for them. So if you know that we can go there, let's get a list together. Let's get some info together to where we can say, hey, I'm going to go to this, or, you know, have some assignments that say, you know, can you do this? I mean, some of us want to do that. I don't mind getting in front of a group, but not everybody wants to do that. So maybe there's other ways to participate with those organizations. But we're going to have to, again, have some resource that says we're available as that resource, as a resource. You understand what I'm saying. I mean, it takes some advertising dollars. You can get on WJOL because you're going to have a fun run that lasts for 10 minutes. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of places the newspapers are looking for stuff. The Times Weekly, where I write that column, they cooperate and do pretty much whatever you want. So would, I assume, the Herald News. They're supposed to be in that business. I don't know about the Patch. They're more in the gossip business. But
Wayne, unfortunately on that, who reads the Herald News? I do, for the obituaries. Who listens to WJOL?
I don't know. I haven't listened to it for years, and I used to be on there. But
yeah, I mean, Scott's Local will put you on there. Any of the DJs will put you on there to talk anytime you want. I mean, the guys at Oakham and down at the Herald News is always looking for an article for somebody to write. But
see,
I don't know who it's going to.
But that's passive, and that's not your best resource. The best resource is going to be the one you go to directly. But who is that? That's what I'm saying.
I say I'm nothing on Facebook or Twitter or crap. I'm more on walking around the streets looking for them.
Well, but we're wrong for not being on like social media and doing all that stuff.
I know.
And it requires some follow through. You can't just advertise like the VAC exists on Facebook because people are like, what is the VAC? So you have to follow that up with something that they can attend. Like we talked about those videos that we all made. What did somebody say? What are they called? Podcasts or whatever? Like you have to filter them somewhere further. Rule of every good meeting is you're harvesting information. How are you already affiliated with the veterans community? And then, hey, can I go to your meeting? And it kind of grows organically on itself, but there's no like one quick answer. But I would argue that advertising like in a digital way is the way that you get veterans my age. And that's what we really, really, really need.
But don't you have to be able to say, this is what we can do?
Right.
This is what we can do for you, not just to say, hey, we're here.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you put out something on any of the social media that says, are you receiving all the benefits you're entitled to? And we have a resource that they can go to double check. Hey, you served during this period and this is what you might be entitled to, X, Y, and Z. At least to get people to check, it puts the commission out there because we're the ones putting out the information. And then we just link them to some place where the resource exists.
So do any of you guys follow us on Facebook right now?
I do.
I do.
But like every Monday, we actually do wake up with coffee in the morning, Q&As every Monday morning. And it's every Monday we do that. And every holiday we post them.
Those need to be boosted at like a couple $100 a pop. You know what I mean?
We haven't had the budget for it. We just had the budget to produce them. And then
but we could.
Right, we could.
Okay.
And I'll honestly, I don't know that I've ever seen an announcement for that on either the You're from Joliet or You're from Lockport If site on Facebook.
Right. Probably
so
not.
just a thing that says, hey, this is who we are and what we do, and join us on Monday, gets another group. And I know there are a lot of veterans on there because I've posted information from the VA that I get through a news feed. And I get a lot of responses from folks that were interested in information or share it over and over and things like that. So I'm not sure that we're just not everywhere. You can't be everywhere, but we can try to be as many places as possible.
Right. It'd be awesome if we used like Jerry Ann to help us figure out how to boost the post, like who to select as the audience. And gave us like a little tutorial the first time out, because if you put it out there far enough with advertising dollars, you don't have to know.
Right.
She's actually the one that produces the posts for us.
Oh, see?
Yeah. But we don't boost it at all. She keeps talking about it and I'm like, not yet. Not yet.
Well, I heard that CARES Act committee's got to unload a couple $1 million or whatever, so.
Studio.
But I think, Lisa, you brought up a good point about the information that's gathered at the meetings. Jack and I were talking about this the other day. And with the reports that were tabled this month, the superintendent's report, cool. The financial assistance report, great. But I don't think any of that's relevant information that anybody probably cares about besides Jack with the financial assistance stuff, me, Val, Jen, sometimes, I don't know. But I think,
Yeah, that's true. We waste a lot of time at our meetings.
yeah, talking about that,
That's out that a lot of the posts don't have any idea what it even means or what.
right? So I think I want to rearrange the meeting to be more legislatively take it back to your post, this is coming up stuff, rather than, hey, we paid 7 guys shelter assistance last month and it cost this much money. Nope, nobody cares.
No.
So isn't that the point of having the monthly executive meetings, is to be able to handle that administrative stuff so that our quarterly meetings are more about what the mission of the VAC is?
Yeah, but I don't know if talking about that stuff at the monthly meetings, I don't know if it's actually handled administratively at those meetings besides taking 27 minutes. I mean, the policies and stuff, yeah, we don't change any policies without going to the board first, but the 29 days in between, one Thursday to the next month's Thursday, those numbers don't mean diddly squat, unless, I mean, that's just my perspective, because most of our guys that are in the hotel right now are above age 65. They didn't know, they're senior veterans, belong to posts, been floating around, whatever. They didn't know we existed. How are they homeless? So I don't think our homeless initiative resonates with the posts so much. It's not getting back there. We should not have the average age in our hotel 67. We shouldn't. And that's what it is. So I think if we talk more legislative stuff to get post involvement and then maybe touch on it, like, Val will give a, Project 165 is what we're calling it, because we have $165,000 overall report. Like I know I pulled numbers last week from the guy. We've spent $11,000 on sheltering in the hotel last week, and we've housed 4 people. It was cheaper to put those 4 people, $11,000 was cheaper than having them on financial assistance for a year, because that's how long it would have been. But I think that probably is, exciting to you guys. Do I think it's exciting to the chaplain no, they don't. They're just like, whatever. I don't even know. That's too much money. Well, it's it's very cheap. But I don't think, in my opinion, gauging people's attention spans-ish, maybe caring, I just don't think those are numbers. I think it's just tradition. It's not anything beyond that.
No.
We do need to do a lot more education on like what is out there for veterans and families.
Or like Blue Water was just extended into the NEMR Act. Like, I think that's going to resonate.
That's the big sexy stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
But then I'm sure Tom probably heard that. Sorry, we have a child who locked himself in the bathroom. I don't know if you can hear that. But
Yeah, I did.
right? Who is it? Oh, but I'm sure Tom probably heard about the NEMR Act coming through, and maybe Steve did too. But I don't know how much you guys know that goes into it, and we don't need to go into it today, but like, it's a big deal that the NEMR Act was extended into Blue Water Navies, and that opens up a lot of doors for a lot of your other Navy, brothers. That's a big deal.
Well, I always cherry pick all this information that I get from here, from the cemetery support committee that I'm on, things like that. And I do those in my 2 things. When I make up the newsletter, post newsletter, I have a section in there. Plus, I've referred people to VAC, that I know. So yeah, I try to do a lot of that. And I try to give them the information on these laws or whatever, Blue Water. So that's what I do.
Why aren't the posts inviting us to come to their meetings though? As like a Q&A?
They're closed?
And before though, I mean, not just now. I mean, before, why aren't
If
we
you want to come
invited
and
to
talk
the,
to 4 or 5 guys, that's what you're welcome.
No, well,
to
we
do.
get about 30, between 30 and 40 to come to a meeting. Of course, we're not, now we've canceled all the meetings for the rest of the year, you know.
so that's a huge audience. Even if we were to go there for one meeting a quarter, sit at a table saying, come talk to us after the meeting with any questions.
Well, we've,
Yeah, that's the thing is you make the big presentation and people don't think they qualify for it or whatever. And where the rubber meets the road, I've probably referred 20, 30 people. And how long have I been affiliated with this? Hardly any time at all. But I'm like, yo, you could get something, you know, you should go and just get them in one of those chairs in the office, you know, to figure out what they are eligible for. And I think that that's where it's really made, is those personal connections and allowing somebody to talk personally afterwards. Because most people in a big group aren't going to be like, I think I qualify for disability. Like that never happens.
well,
So-
I do have people come up after the meeting and
Right.
say, hey, can you check on this for me? Can you check on that?
That's
And
why we
most
need to
of the
be
time,
there.
sometimes I know the answer. I'll refer to the VAC.
So,
Yeah, but there's a lot of the people in those various groups that don't attend the meetings. So how do you get the information to them? And maybe those are the guys that need it.
they are. They're the ones that I find at the bar afterwards. Does that make sense?
Pardon?
Like those are the ones that I find at the bar after the meeting.
Yep.
No, I'm not joking. Like I will sit around and have a beer and start talking to people. And the next thing you know, I've actually gotten some people with some phone numbers in their hand.
Okay,
Takes a lot of work.
yeah.
Denise, did you get all of that?
That's where you're gonna find them.
Yeah.
Did you-
Well, I don't go to bars.
Now's the time to start. No, I'm just kidding.
I never, and that, I guess that's part of my point. I don't have access to that because I'm not in that sphere anymore. I'm one of those over 65 people. The over 65 people aren't out socializing and finding those kind of situations to refer. So there's got to be other ways that we can do this.
Well, you got to tell us what those ways are. I will say that every person I've referred to has been over 65 because some of your compatriots are out there drinking beer still. But at the same time, you know, there has to be more diversity as well, because I know plenty of people my age that don't drink for a very good reason. And I would still like to go find them and talk to them too. But that's just one thing that I found has been effective, is just trying to create those organic one-on-one conversations.
Quite honestly, making a friend in the AA world is a really good way to reach veterans in crisis. There have been a number of people that I know. I have a friend who's an AA leader, and there are a number of people who he's brought forward and got homes and got jobs and everything, because these are folks that are in crisis. They're trying to get their life together and they need help. We've got to figure out how to get to them. If I need to go find the local AA and talk to them and try to figure that out, let's do that. If you don't maybe hang out at bars and drink and meet Amanda that way, maybe you meet and talk to her, but yeah, anyway, I don't know Amanda. Sorry, Amanda. 3 under the bus. But
I promise I'm not really a drunk.
Yeah,
It's just,
no, that's the best way. You're at a meeting, hang out afterwards, because nobody's going to say in front of even 4 other people, hey, I've got a problem. They don't generally want people to know they've got a problem. But afterward, they might sit next to you and ask you a question and see what you can help with. But Wayne, you know, I'm sure you're standing in a line somewhere with a hat or a shirt or something, and you meet veterans all over the place. We've got to figure out how we make those connections and see that whoever needs assistance can somehow get it. We all
You may not know, I've been doing that for 30 years. I'm a little tired of doing it too. So
right.
what I'm saying is that you're still going to have some resources that will bring them to us.
Sure.
And being proactive, going out, I stick around. I don't socialize right now. I'm not going out. I believe that all of the scientists. I believe all that stuff. I'm not wondering about it at all. So doing that is not. And I suspect there's not a lot of meetings, physical meetings going on, unless they're political, among any organization. By
I think though
buying
that we're probably,
all
like,
of her
if we
meetings,
go, don't you think that if we go to their Zoom meeting and at least they meet us once or twice, if we ever get a chance to be in person, maybe we'll really get somewhere.
We look familiar, if nothing else. They've seen us
Right.
before.
I'm saying go to the Zoom meeting. I'm not suggesting otherwise. I'm saying there's not a lot of physical meetings going on out there.
Right, right.
I think that if you infiltrated the social service agencies, a lot of them have no idea what the VAC does. I never did when I was with Catholic Charities. And I'm catching a lot of people that are coming to me for HP and that are literally homeless that I am hooking up with the VSOs. So it is an acute point that you catch someone in crisis, absolutely. And we have a recovery coach, and Joe has been doing pretty well at outreach, but it's a tough time. And our intern, that is her macro project, is to do outreach for
Right.
the younger set of veterans. So it is that one-on-one conversation, but I
Sure.
think if you do catch people in crisis, when they are approaching social service agencies and they even knew what the VAC did, I think you would reach a lot of people there, because I really had no idea what you did until I worked there, actually.
Yeah,
Not
that's
just
a good
homeless
point.
people.
Yeah, that's a good point, because now, again, folks are getting things delivered to their home, and they're in their home and nobody sees them. Nobody knows what's going on. But if they do present it to social services, any aspect, maybe the first question is, are you a veteran? And we train them to
Yeah,
ask that question first.
Right. I trained my staff to do that at Catholic Charities,
Yeah.
but it was to go into a program for rental assistance. I didn't.
Yeah.
We could have piggybacked off that. We could have had the VAC information at the agency. I would have been happy to give that out, but
Right.
Jack's our boots on the ground, and he was usually at like the daily meal. That would be the most like presence that the VAC had
Sure.
at an emergency shelter.
Yeah, I used to do DUI assessments for the court in Illinois and meet people after they had gotten their first, second, third, fifth, whatever DUI. Sometimes they had, killed people in their car or another car or things like that. And that was one of the first things I asked was, are you a veteran? Because then I can connect them with all kinds of additional resources, but it has to be one of the first questions too.
Agreed. And with Amanda and social media, I absolutely agree. We need that outreach. We made a pass at that for a quote for a grant that our Patriots did not get, but absolutely. It's kind of a necessary devil, even if it's Twitter. I don't like it either, Jack.
Okay.
Not everybody reads the newspaper.
All right,
We were in the newspaper. The VAC was in the newspaper, the project.
Oh,
Did anybody see it besides Christy? Probably not. She's probably trying to get a kid out of the John right now, I think.
Right?
I'm serious, because she would be speaking up right now.
I saw, I picked up the extra 2 copies that they had at the grocery store last night at 10 o'clock. Nobody else saw it. But they do a Veterans
See,
Day.
nobody else saw it, yes.
And it was actually really good, and it was accurate, and it was in the Herald News. 1, 2,
Right?
3. Never happens, play the lottery. Good, accurate Herald. It was good.
So I think if that was on a social media platform, it's going to just reach more people.
Yeah, they don't publish that.
The way it is.
Yeah, I'd have to scan it in like old school
Right.
PDF, JPEG it up there, and that's just annoying.
But like Jerry Ann's quote, Christy, for, when we did that IDA grant, that was, it's a lot of money,
Yeah.
but it is terribly effective. And I don't even remember what the radio one was, but I'm kind of with Jack. Does anyone listen to those radio stations? I don't know.
No, we don't. No. But we can do Spotify. We can do iHeartRadio. We can do Hulu. We can do Sling. Because none of those are your TV stations anymore. They're all internet.
Yeah, non-traditional media, new media.
Right.
So just so nobody thinks that I am a real drunk, it actually is my bedtime.
Yeah.
Do we have anything
There it is.
We're starting to rehash the same stuff here. First thing we need to do is, are we going to meet next month, December, on the 10th at 7 p.m.? We're all on the same page on that.
Sounds great.
Works for me.
That'll work for you, Jack? It'll be your meeting.
December, that's not a quarterly. That's just a meeting.
It's just a meeting.
Commission meeting?
The one that you need about 5, 6 people for,
Executive
whatever you
board.
want to call it.
I don't know, it's not a regular meeting.
You
We
can
don't have
schedule
December or
meetings whenever
anything.
you want.
for a meeting, do we?
You can schedule meetings whenever you want. You just have to
Right.
give 48
Yeah.
hours notice.
48 hour.
Yeah,
Okay,
Nobody's watching us that much. It's really okay.
I'm complimented on that one because we already had an open meetings. I've already talked to the Attorney General.
well, should we
Been
just leave
through
it?
2 times already.
Yeah.
We
it's-
just leave it, and when Christie sends out an invitation on the email, we know there's gonna be a meeting?
So we're saying December 10th at 7 PM?
That's what I'm asking. That would be the next normal get-together we have.
But we're not doing normal, but that sounds like a good day to me.
Yeah, all right. Let's go with December 10th at 7 PM. The new officers will be in place and everything, and we'll go from there.
As soon
Well,
as we
thank
get
you.
certified,
Pardon?
as soon as we get certified, we are elected, we'll be
Okay,
going in.
you're in there. Anyway, well, thank you, everybody, for giving me the opportunity to serve the last 2 years. Have a nice Thanksgiving. And if
We
there's
need a
no further
motion to
business,
adjourn?
prepare to adjourn. Do you have a
So-
motion to adjourn?
Oh.
Yes,
So just,
Second,
hold on.
Christie?
Hold on.
Just so I'm clear, we're gonna go after the CARES funding for advertising, mental health, housing, and whatever else we can think of.
yes.
That's what I've got in the
Anything
minutes.
we can think of.
Okay.
Sounds
And I have
good.
some ideas about mental health where we could maybe go for the gold, but I'll talk to you later about
Yeah,
it.
no, bring it. Yeah.
And
Oh, it's
same thing,
broad.
Chrissy, I got something else for that, for the mental health part.
Okay. Okay, all right.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Okay,
Yep.
yep.
Happy
Have a
Thanksgiving,
motion
guys.
to adjourn.
Good night.
A motion to
Bye.
adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Good night.
Be safe.
Bye, guys.